Welcome back, everybody. Our next guest is someone who has been so active in the public sphere, especially if it pertains to the very necessary protection of our next generation. From CRT and curriculum fights to now the sweeping transgenderism efforts that the political left is trying to push on our children. She is Tamara Farris. She's a senior advisor of strategic partnerships at FreedomWorks, and she joins us right now. Tamara, it's great to have you back on the show.
Great to be with both of you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Tamara, we are 12 days out from midterm elections. We've had you on the program before talking about how this is going to be the mama bear and the papa bear election where they come out in full force and vote their minds. Talk to us about these numbers that you were prepping us with as we came into the show or before we came into the show regarding these new numbers and parents voting in elections.
It is mind-blowing, actually, what's happening. The National Parents Union Parent Voice survey found that 62% of parents said they are very concerned about the ability of schools to provide a quality education for children and quality instruction, given all the, I'm assuming it's because there's a lot of time being spent on woke cultural issues. The GOP has said that they believe parental rights in education is a true sleeper issue in the midterms, because we know when we look at all the polls, the economy and inflation, gas prices, these are the number one things on the minds of voters. But when you talk to parents, they are overwhelmingly concerned about what's happening in schools. They also found that 82% of parents are very or extremely likely to vote in the election. And this is a reflection of their desire for change, according to the pollsters. So we do have this definite sleeper element. It's no surprise that parents are specifically concerned about age-appropriate schooling. The Heritage Foundation did a poll in battleground states that revealed that. So again, this whole sleeper element right below the surface of the problems of the economy has to do with education. And age appropriate is really the language of the day. And Governor DeSantis has led in that arena by making it, against the law to be presenting sexualized content and information about, quote, gender identity or sexual orientation or various types of things that, treatments and that type of thing, illegal for schools below third grade. It's just common sense.
Yeah, it is. And the last year of awakening of parents and their injection into the system as candidates, as activists, as just going to school board meetings and trying to get what's going on with my child is so impressive. When you step back next year, I want to ask about, there's been a lot of focus on K through 12, but higher education and colleges are the second breeding ground for these sort of theories. Do you see any experiments going on now that might be a model for states in the future to tackle that issue?
I think the fact that in K through 12, kids are going through this literally trauma, I believe kids are being traumatized in K through 12 schools. They are the future students for our universities and our colleges. And, it's interesting because the left is trying to really, talk about the whole child and social emotional learning and how important it is to watch over children's mental health. When I would say, and I would love to see a study done on this, that what they are, bringing into schools regarding asking kids what pronouns they want to use, asking kids if they want to be a different gender, if they want to change their clothes in the gender-affirming closet, all of this without talking to parents, I believe that can be traumatizing. And that can cause confusion, that can even lead to depression. And we see that these are not the topics that prepare children for school. So regarding college, we know that scores are plummeting when it comes to kids graduating. Their reading levels, their math levels are lower than they've been in 30 years. And that does not bode well for kids getting into college. ACT scores were the lowest in about a few decades. That data was just released. So what's happening in K through 12, I think, at this stage, is setting kids up for future failure, not success. And that is not the American way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the statistics across other countries of what age and what grade they are teaching things like trigonometry and chemistry, and they are way ahead of us. It's so concerning. I wanted to ask you about this interview that we saw with President Joe Biden, this transgender individual, Dylan Mulvaney, who went to the White House and interviewed him, sat down with him, and then this person posted a TikTok video talking about how Americans need to become comfortable with women having bulges in their pants. What is happening, and how badly? I just want to get a prediction from you on what's going to happen in a couple weeks as far as the control of the House and Senate.
I would venture to say that the left has overplayed their hand at this stage. They clearly have this strong agenda. It is rooted in Marxism, and those that came over, John Dewey, Thorndike in the early 1900s, all of this history is traceable. And it's to have an anti-American agenda, you really have to have an anti-God agenda. And to really push a strong anti-God agenda, you have to erase the created reality of what science teaches us about DNA, that male and female are based in your DNA. Now, if someone is an adult and they want to pretend to be something that isn't even scientifically accurate, we are a free country and we respect each other's rights to free speech and free expression. But bringing that ideology into the classroom is a whole different level, and schools do not have the right to do that. Federal law says that parents are full partners with the school in their child's education, and that they are to be able to influence it. And so this nonsense that somehow parents don't have rights in the school to influence things or determine what their kids can opt out of is just wrong. They do have that. So anyway, all that to say, I believe that's where we're at. I do think these polls could allude to the fact that I believe they are overplaying their hand and pushing way too fast and way too far with this agenda.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely spot on. Way too fast and way too far for your normal, everyday, average American. Tamara, thank you so much for joining us. Tell us very quickly where our audience can find you and find your work.
Awesome. At Tamara Farah, TamaraFarah on all social media, and at Freedom Works.
Fantastic. All right.